Today I want to talk about what a realistic level of body fat is to maintain, and I think this is an important topic. Not a lot of people are talking about this, but we have a big problem. Society's views on what lean is have been seriously warped recently. Now you can blame a lot of different things for this. I think the biggest one is probably social media, right? You go on there and you see all these people who are just completely shredded to the bone, 24/7, 365, but what you don't understand is there's typically 4 reasons for why this is. One, let's just be honest. Unfortunately, things like steroids are so common nowadays. It seems to be easy to get, and even just your local gym, I swear like half the people are on something. The second thing is they might just have that top less than 1% genetics that allows them to build loads of muscle and stay super shredded and still feel good. That's probably not you. The third thing is it could just literally be fake. I mean, not only Photoshop, but with AI nowadays and everything, it's just not that hard to create images that look real. What some people do is they get really shredded one time, take hundreds of pictures, and then as they start gaining weight, they just keep posting from that photo shoot, pretending like they're staying that lean when they're actually not. And the fourth thing is maybe they're doing it, but they're just crushing themselves to the bone and they feel like absolute crap, but they feel like they have to do it because it's part of their job. Maybe they're a model. They feel like they have to do it for social media. So they are willing to live a life that feels like absolute crap because they feel this pressure to stay lean year round. So you see this and you think this is how things should look. It just warps your mindset. You wouldn't believe the number of client inquiries I get from people who say things like, I just can't lose this last bit of abdominal fat, or I feel so fat. I wish I could show you some of these pictures. I won't do it because I respect people's privacy too much. Even blurring out their face, I won't do it. But some of these people, it's just like, what are you even thinking? It breaks my heart, honestly. But anyway, here's where I'm going with all this. If you're someone who wants a nice muscular physique, you want to have that size, you want to get lean, you're not going to get there by dieting all the time. And too many people are afraid to spend any time out of a deficit, systematically increasing calories, intentionally putting on muscle, and giving their body time. And it keeps you stuck forever. And what this means is you're going to have to go through periods where you're going to have higher body fat levels than you probably want, but it's going to get you where you want to be. And it's just wild to me. When I think back about a dozen years ago or so, it was just widely accepted that if you want to build muscle, you have to go in long building phases. That's just what you did. But now it's all about recomp. It's all you ever see. And hey, I've done videos about recomp, and it's certainly possible, especially in certain scenarios, but it's not a long-term plan. You can make big changes this one time, but you won't be able to do that forever. So if you want to make big changes, you're going to have to get uncomfortable with having more body fat than you want for a while. And this can be tough, especially if you're someone who has exposure to this business and everything. I think about some people, like, I remember the comments that I used to see on Lane Norton and Jeff Nippard's comments where they're in building phases and they're gaining more weight and people are all over them making fun of them. That is, of course, until they go through their cut and then they see the final product. All of a sudden, nobody's saying anything. You've gotten so distorted. I get some of these comments myself too, and you're getting chubby and things like that. And hey, right now, I'm the heaviest I've been in about a decade. I'm 190 pounds right now. And would I prefer to be leaner? Yes, but really? This is what you consider to be chubby? This is the standard that society has now? Like, it's just crazy. And I don't say this to defend myself and get mad at people and try to call them out. I'm just trying to show you how warped society has gotten and how you don't want to fall into the pressures of feeling like you have to be lean all the time, especially if you're someone who complains that you don't have enough muscle definition and you're frustrated by that, but you've basically never gone through a building phase in your entire life. That does bring me to the main topic of this video. What is an ideal body fat that you can maintain? And hey, I'm someone who's been all different shapes and sizes. I've been lifting consistently for 16 years now. I've been as low as 157 pounds when I got completely shredded for a show. I've been as high as 210 pounds, which is funny when you see this video of me. I've actually lost like maybe 15 pounds at that point, so it's the heaviest I have of myself. But side note, I was actually feeling good about myself, which is why I took that video, because I was losing weight. And a lot of people get caught up and feel like, well, if I get to a certain weight, I'll then be happy. But it's really the progress that makes you happy. When you go the opposite direction at the same weight, you actually feel worse about it. So it's never a singular weight that is going to make the difference. But I digress. I've done lots of videos about how to get to 10% body fat. These videos of myself on a show, this was me probably around maybe like the low 160s. But no, I don't maintain that level of leanness. There's nothing wrong with having goals to get to these shredded looks sometimes and take some photos, and it can be an enjoyable experience, but you don't understand how horrible it feels to be that lean. Your body is like a disaster disaster zone. Your hormones are all jacked up. You're starving. You have no energy, no focus. You're in a terrible mood all the time. They've actually done case studies on bodybuilders where they bring them from the start of show prep all the way to getting stage lean, and they monitor things like their testosterone. And by the time they get stage lean, their testosterone is so low that it's practically non-existent. They could easily qualify for getting on hormone replacement therapy or TRT or whatever. Thankfully, when they come back up and start gaining weight after the show, it comes back up again. But as I get into what I think is more maintainable, here's a bunch of pictures of me maybe around every 10 or so pounds or so, and you can see you can still be relatively in decent shape when you've taken the time to build muscle. And even if you go from my leanest of around 160 all the way up to 190 pounds, that's a 30-pound difference, but you can still see visible abs and muscle definition. I've actually done videos about how you can see abs at higher body fats. I'll maybe put one in the description. But for me, what I think, if I really wanted to just truly maintain best I could, I think the leanest that would be reasonable would be maybe around here, which is low to mid 170s. And maybe if I had to guess, that's maybe 12%. It's kind of hard to tell, everyone carries weight so differently, which if you're talking about females, it's gonna be a higher body fat percentage because you carry more fat, right? So that would be maybe like high teens, maybe low 20s. But either way, that would be the leanest I think I could do. More realistically would probably be making sure I'm around that kind of 15% and maybe closer to around 180 pounds for myself. But understand, it's very different for each person. Everyone's gonna feel different at different body fats. And it also depends on how much weight you've lost. The farther away you are from your original body fat set point, the more you're probably gonna start feeling worse, even at higher levels of body fat than getting down to that like 12 to 15%. If you're someone who's never gotten too overweight, that's gonna be easier to do. But you have to factor in, how do you feel? What are things like hunger levels and your calorie amount? Do you feel like you have decent balance to be able to sustain it in the long run? But I do have some good news here too. You can change your body fat set point over time. And if you're wondering how, then make sure you check out this top video here and I'll show you how you can get your body fat to change over time. And I'll see you in that other video.